Good afternoon, fantasy football world. We are back, the Shiver. Today we are going to go through all of your games on Sunday and talk about guys in those games that we would start, we would sit, or maybe consider as a flex option. So we're going to go ahead and get into the deep. Let's dive right in.
Let's dive in. So I'm Brad. This is Brian. And the first game we're going to talk about is the Texans and Bears. It should be a pretty quick one here. So Bears are 2.5 point favorites. The under-over is 39. So they're looking at a low-scoring game. Really the only option in this game, fantasy-wise, is probably Montgomery. I don't know if there's anybody else worth starting in this matchup.
I'm going to say Brandon Cooks could give you a good flex play possibly. But outside of that, I mean, it's going to be tough to get any of these pass catchers out there in your lineup.
Yeah, you're definitely leaving on, the Komets and the Moonies, and I think you're leaving them if they're on your roster still, which I don't know if they should be, but them guys are definitely not an option for fantasy football this year. This week.
This week, yeah. Maybe not this year either. Next game we're going to go into is going to be the Raiders and the Titans. So with the Raiders, we're obviously going to have Devontae Adams. I mean, I don't think we have to talk too much about him. That's probably going to be a start, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I would think so.
Darren Waller.
He had a little bit of a scare last week. He didn't put up numbers, but he'll be all right.
He'll be fine.
Don't have to worry about him there.
Hunter Renfro's out. He'll be fine. Maybe Darren Waller. He's an automatic start for me, too.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with
that. So Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, automatic starts. Now for the Titans, Derrick Henry. How are you on him?
I am high on Derrick Henry. I said that last week. So he got off to a rough start. I think this is the week he turns it around. I mean, you're obviously starting him. He was your top 5, top 6 pick in the draft, so he's obviously in your lineup. So I think this is the week he turns it around. Let's see how we do there, and I feel confident with Derrick Henry this week.
I'm not as confident. Derrick Henry's still a start, though. I mean, you can't bench the guy like you said you drafted in that first round. You drafted him for a reason. I'm not big on him, but I'm going to go ahead and say he's a must start. Yeah.
So the next guy, I guess, receiver-wise, is Treylon Burks. I think Burks is up and coming. I think I said that in my sleeper pick in the last video. So I think Burks is up and coming. I think if you're in a deep league, you can possibly throw him in your flex. But I mean, I don't know if I'm down to starting him yet, but he's definitely up and coming.
I like Treylon Burks down the future, like you said. Even this week, I feel like he could be a deep flex play, but you're talking 14, 16 man teams. I don't know. I just don't think you can start him in a 12-man yet. But keep him on your bench. Don't drop him. Don't get rid of him. Keep him. He's going to be good. Come midseason, these rookies will start picking up.
So this line in this game, you got the Raiders -2. The over/under is 45.5. So who do you like in that one?
Oh boy, I'm actually gonna go with the Titans at home. I think they're gonna be a close game. I think Tennessee's gonna pull this one out, probably about a 23-21 kind of score.
Yeah, you do got 2 0-2 teams going at it, which I don't think anybody pictured the Raiders being 0-2 right now. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I think I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I think this game goes under. I think under 45.5. I think it might be like a 24-20 type of deal, so it's going to be right there on the wire. But there's one more guy I want to talk about real quick. With Hunter Renfrow being out, there was a guy that kind of broke out a little bit last week. That's Matt Collins. He had 8 catches for 8 targets for 66 yards with 5 receptions. I blew that one up. But yeah, he's a guy to look at. I think he, we'll see how he does this week.
So Matt Collins, just to touch on him real quick, coming from the Eagles. I mean, even if he is the wide receiver too, don't force him in your lineup. Matt Collins is another deep league guy. There's not a lot of pass catchers in this game outside of Devontae Adams that are going to be pretty much goes. So
yeah, you got Adams and Waller and
be cautious. Just be cautious on that aspect with him.
So that's it for that game.
All right, so we're going to go into the Chiefs and the Colts. This line right now is the Chiefs at -5.5. And the over-under is at 50.5. So one of the higher scoring predicted games of this week. So when we're talking high scoring, you want your stars playing. So obviously with the Colts, I'm pretty sure you're the same as Jonathan Taylor. He's going to be a must start. Got to start your number one.
You got to start him. I don't think he blows up. I think the Colts try to, do a little ball control, start the game out, but I think the game gets kind of carried away with the Chiefs kind of turning into a blowout. But
What about Matt Ryan in a predicted high-scoring game? How do you feel about him? Is he a guy should maybe turn to replace one of these aging quarterbacks?
I don't believe so. I think he's going to have to definitely throw the ball in the second half. I think Pittman has a good game. I think
Pittman's a must start. If he's healthy now, Pittman still is questionable.
They're saying he's back in the lineup.
He should be good though. He's a must start.
So yeah, Pittman's a must start. Obviously, you got your Mahomes, Kelsey. I think Hilaire kind of has a good game too.
CEH is an enigma. We still don't know what to expect from him. I like CEH though as a RB2 flex play this week. I think that he's got value just because of that offense.
So in this game, I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Get the Chiefs minus 5.5. I like that spread. I'm actually a Colts fan, so I don't think they're playing very good football right now. So I'm going with the Chiefs, and then I'm going to go with the under on this one also. I think we're looking at like a 38-10 type of game, maybe 35-13, something like that. I think the Chiefs probably dominate them, so I'm going Chiefs in the under on this one also.
Okay. Right. Well, now as far as that goes, I'm not big on either line on this game, so I'm kind of just fading it 100% as far as that part goes. With the Chiefs, I don't like Juju if you have him too. Be honest with you, Juju's a guy that he's like a Mike Williams that isn't as good as Mike Williams. He's that guy that he could boom because of the offense he's in, but when he busts, man, he just face plants. So I'm going to stay away from Juju as well. I'm also going to stay away from that line, to be honest with you. That's not my kind of game there. I don't know what to think about that. I do know what to think about this next game. And we're going to get to that. The Bills and the Dolphins. Right now, the Bills are at a 5-point favorite at Miami. Over-under is one of the highest, if not the highest this week. We got 53
I think it is the highest this week.
Let's go to the quarterbacks first because that's where we're starting. Josh Allen, 100%. You never bench that guy. Number one quarterback in fantasy. Tua Tagovailoa is I don't know.
Well, he's got some speedsters. That's what's going to help him out here. So he's got that, Waddle and Hill, they can both fly. So
you got him starting, or what are you doing with him this week?
I would have him starting. I guess it depends on who your QB1 is. He's most likely your QB2 in your team. I don't think anybody drafted him as your starting quarterback. So now, if you got Brady or Rodgers, I'm starting Tua over Brady or Rodgers. If
you said that.
Something like that. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, you don't start him over Allen or Mahomes or Hurts or any guys like that. But
or my boy Taylor Heineke, shout out.
I think he's going to be throwing the ball. I mean, I don't think there's any other option for him. I think it's going to be a very high scoring game, and I think Miami's just throwing the ball the whole second half. So I think he's in my lineup. I know the Bills got a defense that's scary to start anybody against, but I think Tua might throw the ball 40 times this game, and he's going to put up stats.
So I think with the Dolphins, you have to start with Jalen Waddle. He's a must start. I think from moving forward, Jalen Waddle becomes a must start. Just an opinion of it. I think those two pass catchers both are going to carry a lot of value as the season goes. Tyreek Hill's a must start for me. I'm going to avoid the Miami Dolphins running backs. So we're talking Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds. I'm not sure which one's going to be 1A, 1B this week. That split last week was devastating for Chase Edmonds fans. Well, I ain't going to say fans. I'm going to say Chase Edmonds owners in the fantasy league. Him taking away all those touches, that just deflates any value in that backfield. Now, with this game, I'm going to call this my pick of the week. The Bills are going to lose games at some point. They're not one team in the history of the NFL has done it. You don't just go undefeated all the way through and win the Super Bowl. The Bills will lose eventually. Why not lose to a good team on the road in your division, which is the Miami Dolphins? I don't see the Dolphins winning necessarily. I don't see this going. See it being a 3-point game. I'm going to say 28 to 27-ish. We'll say 1 point. I think it's going to be a close game. That's what I'm seeing with that, though. I like it.
So, yeah, it's funny you said that because I was going to actually pick the Dolphins also. I think the Bills control the game. Kind of like how Baltimore controlled the game last week against the Dolphins, and then they come storming back. I don't think they can storm back enough against the Bills, but I think they do come storming back. I think the Bills might take a 17-point lead in this game, and then the Dolphins come back in the last 8 minutes of the game, and I think they cover the spread. So I definitely 100% think the game is going over. 53 is a lot of points. So as far as other players in this game, the only really guy we have to talk about is Gabe Davis. And I know he's saying he's 100%, so I think he's in the game. So I think you can go ahead and put him back in your lineup and not have to worry about it.
If Gabe's healthy, for me, he's a start. I mean, he's not a must start, obviously, but I think he's a start. Now, outside of him, with Isaiah McKenzie, Jamison Crowder, those guys are just going to be not starts for me. Isaiah McKenzie's just not going to get the amount of looks we thought he was from that slot position. So they're really, Stephon Diggs, 100% you already know about him. He's your starter no matter what. And then when we're looking at the Dolphins side of the ball, we already talked about them. Mike Gesicki for me also. We'll talk about him real quick. Did have a touchdown last week. Not really a guy I'm big on, so I'm going to say
he's just so big. He's 6'6". I mean, he's a huge target in the red zone, but I think he is touchdown dependent.
Dawson Knox. We didn't really talk about Dawson Knox.
Yeah, I mean, he could be one of them sleeper tight ends. I mean, maybe he might break out. I don't know.
Knox kind of goes when the Bills go. He capitalizes on the circumstances. He doesn't get targeted a lot. So Dawson Knox is a guy you can start, but if deeper leagues, he's not.
I can say this though. I can say that I'm staying away from all the running backs in this game.
There will be no running backs.
So I don't think any of the running backs. I think that they're both quarterbacks are just going to let it fly, and I think neither running back on either team is worth starting. So that's it for that one. We're going to move on to the Lions and the Vikings. So what's your take on this one?
So this game here, you got the Lions coming in, coming off that big win in Washington. Yeah, I know about that. And you got the Vikings coming after just getting thumped on Monday Night Football, where Kirk Cousins' prime time came out to play, and that's why Washington didn't pay you, bud. So when I look at this game, I see this being almost a shootout kind of game. I really like Kirk Cousins to start here. Kirk Cousins, I feel like, can put up good numbers. Wentz put up over 300. Jalen Hurts carved that Detroit Lions secondary. Their secondary is not the greatest. And when you've got weapons like Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and Irv Smith Jr. and you got these guys, KJ Osborne. There's just too many targets. He's going to break out this week. Kirk Cousins is a good start, I think. I wouldn't say must start, but I like him.
Yeah, I think Kirk Cousins was my pick of the week at quarterback. So I think he is going to light it up. Like I said earlier, the Lions, they're giving up so many points.
It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, they're giving up like 32.5 points per game. That's a lot of points. And obviously the Vikings have a very good offense. I think Dalvin Cook breaks out and gives you that number one draft pick that you were looking for as far as your running backs. I think he was like a running back 4 or 5, somewhere in that range.
It's definitely a must start. I mean, like I said, every first round guy you drafted, I'm going to call a must start because when you draft,
he's definitely a must start.
Now let's talk about the other quarterback too. We're going to kind of touch on Jared Goff because Jared Goff to me is an interesting play. If you got guys that are aging, I'm going to keep saying aging because I don't want to call these guys out by name, but yeah, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, I'm just going to call him out. Russell Wilson, what are you doing, Russ? He's not very dangerous this year. But we're going to be talking about guys that we can replace them with, and that's Jared Goff, I think. Jared Goff has been solid this year. Remember, he was a guy they coveted just as much as Matt Stafford, and we know what Matt Stafford is. So,
well, they're starting to also get some weapons around him. You know, you got the Amon-St. Brown.
Automatic start.
You got Swift. You got
automatic start.
You have a Lions offense that's not all that bad anymore. So
it's not the Detroit Lions that we've known before. Last year they started showing promise, especially after week 8 when Amon-Ra really took off. So yeah, Amon-Ra must start. DeAndre Swift must start. Outside of them, T.J. Hawkinson, I'm borderline saying to find a replacement because
I think the replacement is on the other side. I like Irv Smith. I mean, he kind of bombed week 1. Week 2, he comes out with 8 targets, 5 catches, 36 yards, and a touchdown. So, and people were high on him coming in. He's had a lot of injuries in the past, and I think he's one of the guys that is going to start getting it together, and he's going to be a reliable target for Cousins. And then I'm not too big on Thielen. I keep hoping he's going to turn it around, but he always seems to get the targets late in the game.
I'm going to actually say this. For me, Thielen is a sit this week. Only reason I say that is because he just hasn't been the guy this year yet. I don't like starting guys who I think can get good. I want to start guys who have shown that they are good. And this year, Thielen hasn't done it. So
I think it might be back to a week 1 repeat of the Jefferson show. So
I think Justin Jefferson, though, obviously he's a start. I mean, there's no questions. I think Justin Jefferson goes absolutely ballistic in this game. I'm going to say he goes for 11 catches for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm just going to go out there. He's going to go absolutely bonkers.
I like it.
He's mad. Philly shut him down. They're going to shut my boys down. We're going to talk about that. Don't worry. All right, let's get into the Ravens and
the Patriots.
So the line on this game is going to be the Ravens at a 2.5-point favorite. On the road, it looks like in New England, and the over-under is going to be 44. Before we talk about the over-under and the spread, let's talk about the quarterbacks. What's your take on those guys?
Well, we got Lamar Jackson. Obviously, he's a stud. He's running wild. He's slinging the ball. He's doing pretty well this year. I've never been that really high on him, but he's looking pretty good. I know he's got that sleeve in his arm. I know he's a little bit banged up, but I think he's good to play. So yeah, Jackson can probably expect another big game from him. On the other side, Mac Jones. New England's not scored very many points, so I'm not really high on anybody on that offense. I think.
I am.
Yeah, I know you're high. I mean, hey, Jacoby Myers is putting up big numbers, and if he gets in the end zone,
if he's healthy,
if he gets in the end zone, those numbers are going to turn into huge numbers. So
let's get the thing about the game here is the over/under is set really low at 44. I really think this game is going to be a little more high scoring than what Vegas does. I think the Ravens match up well with anybody. Lamar Jackson, although not 100%, I think if he's going to be on the field, you're fine with that. Now, Jacoby Myers, he's a little banged up right now, but like I said, if he goes, he's my play of the week. You got to get him in your lineup.
Well, he had 13 targets last week. I mean,
13 targets, and then you got
like I said, if he gets in the end zone, that game turns into a huge game.
And then you got Nelson Aguilar if he doesn't go. I'm gonna put Nelson in the same category as Jacoby Myers. Whoever the wide receiver one is in that offense against the Ravens team that literally just got torched by the Dolphins. That's who I want catching passes on my fantasy team, so that's who I would roll with. I like both pass catchers to be starts in this one.
What do you think about, let's go with Bateman.
Rashad Bateman, eh?
So, yeah, I think Bateman, I think he's coming around. I think he's a really good receiver. He scares me a little bit with just the big play ability. And if you take that big play away, his numbers won't look so hot. So I think last week he had a 75-yard touchdown. The week before it was like a 40-some-yard touchdown. I mean, he's getting them though, so if he keeps getting them, obviously his stats are going to be great. But I'm afraid that week where you need him to be there, he doesn't make that big play, it might hurt you. I don't think he's going to be the consistent receiver that you want. Obviously, he's a great flex play. You know what I mean? If he's in your flex, it's awesome. Definitely put him in as a flex. But I think he's good. I don't think he's like a must start every week though. But this game,
for me, Rashad Bateman is going to be a sit. I don't like the matchup on the outside with New England. New England's, I think they have a really good. Their defense is good. I do think this game is going to produce points, though. I don't know if they're going to come from that wide receiver position. You're going to have a lot. I think you're going to see Lamar Jackson rush it in a couple times in this game. I also think you're going to see Mark Andrews heavily involved in that pass game because the Patriots can be susceptible to the tight end position. So I'm going to go with, for me, Bateman. I'm actually practicing this. I am benching him in my league for Jahan Dotson. So for me, Bateman, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to tell you I'm going to sit.
All right. So this game, I like the Ravens. I think the Ravens, they're like I said, they're -2.5. I like the Ravens in this one. Going into Foxborough, it's a tough place to play, but I think they're pretty mad about last week. So I think they come out and they don't let that comeback happen. And I want to go under again, 44. I think it's going to stay under that.
See, for me, I'm leaning towards the over. I know New England's defense is good. I just think the Ravens' offense is better. Now, we didn't talk running backs a lot, so to make this very simple, you're just going to sit all the running backs in this game, except Lamar Jackson, which is not technically a running back, I guess. But for me, that they're all sits. Now, I like this game. The reason I like the over would be because I just think that the Ravens match up well against anybody defensively. Offensively to their defense, of course. And I think the Patriots are going to find success in the air against the Ravens.
So they got to score more than 12 points per game, which is their averaging for this game to go over.
That's all right.
They do it against the Ravens.
Oh, bug. We're right in the news. No, I really do think that. I really do think the Ravens. I think they break through that defense, and they're going to find a way to score. They're very high scoring, high giving up. We'll say. offense defense. So I think for me, a trend this year, I like all Ravens overs at this point because they can't stop a nosebleed with that defense. It's bad. I thought Washington was bad. I watched the Ravens. They're bad. So I'm going to go over. I'm going to disagree with you on that one. But I will say, if you're talking just with the 2.5 points, I still kind of like the Ravens in this game. So I'm going to say I think the Ravens cover that.
All right, the next team we got on the list, still in the 1 o'clock games, we got the Bengals and the Jets. So this is the last 1 o'clock game to go over. So the Bengals come in at 6.5 point favorite, under over is 45. So not looking at a very high scoring game, not really a low scoring game.
The Bengals may score 45 on their own in this game.
Yeah.
They're not going to be too happy. I don't know why such a low number. I don't know. Got you too, huh? I don't know which defense they're expecting to be stellar, but neither has been throughout this year yet. Especially the Jets. I mean, yeah, they did win last week. Congratulations. You gave up 30 points to a Browns team that I don't think they're great offensively. So we don't know how good that's going to be. Now, we're talking quarterbacks in this game. We're going to look first at Joe Burrow, who I think we've covered him a few times. I'm a little down on Burrow right now, but I think this is a game he bounces back. I'm going to say Joe Burrow for you is a must start.
It is the Jets. So, yeah, Burrow has a good game. I think, obviously, receivers, you got Chase and Higgins, and they're going to have good games also. I think Mixon blows up this game.
Well, before we get to Mixon, let's talk about Flacco, because I think Flacco's a guy that when we're talking about fringe quarterbacks that you could pick up and start, Flacco becomes one of those. What's your take on him?
I mean, I'm buying because he's throwing the ball 50 times a game. So, yeah, he's throwing the ball just crazy. I mean, the Jets are more than likely always playing from behind. This game might be tighter than that, but I think both teams can score. So I think, I like Flacco if you have no other options. So
I'm going to say I agree with Mixon. Mixon's going to have, I think Mixon goes off this game. I think he's going to be the player of the game. Now, we're talking with the Jets on the running backs. I have Michael Carter and Breece Hall. So we're seeing Breece Hall transition as the guy in that backfield. I think we're looking at a matter of 3 to 4 weeks, and Breece Hall's probably going to be 75% snaps.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before Hall takes that backfield over. I know people are still worried about him and kind of still starting him.
Buy him low right now. I mean, he's a guy that can win your league in about 6-7 weeks when you get into the bulk of his play.
So, yeah, I think Breece Hall ends up taking that backfield over by week 4, week 5, probably week 5.
I'm going to actually say he's a start this week.
I think he has a good game this week. I mean, he hasn't played bad. I mean, week 1 he did have 9 targets in the receiving game, so that's pretty good. I mean, last week, he went 1 target, 1 catch, 1 touchdown. So I don't know where the 9 to the 1 went. I guess it was just more of a, how the game play went with Baltimore last week. But yeah, I like Breece Hall. I think he's up and coming. I think he's going to end up being. He might be a good flex play this week.
I say if you start him, he's a flex. I don't think. Now the thing with Breece Hall is he was drafted so early. A lot of people did draft him as their RB2. So if you didn't pick up a guy that boomed late, and you don't have another option, I mean, you can roll Breece Hall out and not feel too terrible about it. I think he still has a decent game. I don't know if he finds the end zone this week, but I think that he further establishes that running game and being that backfield. So I don't like Michael Carter though. I'm gonna say Michael Carter for me is a sit. He's just pass reliant, and I think Breece Hall will eat into that.
So like this one last guy here, I think obviously we're starting Chase Higgins. Higgins is up in the air too, but Garrett Wilson, this guy, he's eating early. He's a rookie. 8 targets week 1, 4 receptions, 52 yards. Last week he had 14 targets. 14 targets, 8 catches, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I know it was a high-scoring game, it was a shootout, but a lot of Jets games are going to be like that because they're always going to be throwing the ball. Flacco throwing the ball 50 times. If Garrett Wilson's getting 15 of those throws, he's going to have a big year. I think he's probably my top rookie, honestly. So
John Dodson.
I think Wilson keeps it going this week against the Bengals. I think he's in your lineup now. So yeah, that 14 targets that's a pretty big game. So and I think they know what they got in Garrett Wilson. So I think he stays up there.
I think he is a good. I mean, he's a good flex option in deep leagues. If you're in like a 10-man league, depending on your receivers, don't force him in your lineup. I like Garrett Wilson. I think he probably could be the top rookie this year. Rookie of the year is going to be a receiver more than likely, but I think Garrett Wilson could be that guy. So for
There are some good ones though.
I think
for sure.
So McDonald's is better, but I'm partially biased. But no, so when we're talking about Garrett Wilson right now, I can't label him a must start at all. I can label him if you got a chance to start him, do it.
But how hard is it to leave him on your bench?
Not hard.
It's very hard.
So he's had one stellar game, and honestly, that game kind of benefited from that overtime, which if the Browns were competent, that would have never happened. Still, though, I like him moving forward. If he plays for you, if you put him in your lineup this week, have some confidence in it. He's not a must start for me yet.
So we got the Bengals at -6.5. Over under against 45. I am going to roll with the Jets to cover that spread. I'm not sure if they win the game, but I think they cover. And I like the over. I like it's going over 45. I think we're going to look at like a 28-24 type of game in this one. So yeah, I think it's going over, and I like the Jets.
Yeah, it's hard to take the under on the Bengals. I mean, they've kind of been a mixed bag this year offensively against Pittsburgh. They were decent last week, not so much against Cowboys. So I look for a breakout from Joe Burrow. I think that offensive line is going to be a little more cohesive going forward. They're going to get it together. I think Joe Burrow has a decent game. I really think Joe Mixon blows up this game. I like the Bengals actually to cover the spread. I like the Bengals in about a 30 to 21 kind of game. So I like the Bengals to cover, but I do agree with you. I think the over isn't a bad option. I think this might be a little more scoring than Vegas thinks as well. So speaking of 6.5 point spreads, we're going to get to the next game, and this is where
this is where you step in.
We're going to talk about the Washington, not football team, not the R-word. Yep, Commanders. They're playing the Philadelphia Eagles in Carson Wentz's revenge game.
And Carson Wentz is on fire.
He's on fire, but the revenge games haven't gone well this year for other teams. I don't think this one goes well for Washington. I like Carson Wentz moving forward as the season goes on. I think these next couple of weeks are a little tough though. He's gonna get the Eagles, who Darius Slay, I hate to say this, possibly the best cornerback in the league. And then you've got the Cowboys, who have shut down some pretty good offenses so far. They shut down Tampa Bay under 20. They shut down the Bengals under 20. So I mean, you got two defenses coming up that I'm not a huge fan of Carson Wentz. Now, if you picked Carson Wentz up off your waiver wire with the intent of putting him over, say, a Tom Brady or something to that effect, I'm actually okay with that this week. Eventually, either Wentz is going to play well throughout the game and they're going to score with the Eagles, or Carson Wentz is going to get into garbage time and they're going to score to come back. So Carson Wentz, start him if he is not forced into your lineup. That's what I'm thinking. What about Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts is hard to stop. So that guy, yeah, he's pretty good. So I know he's only got one passing touchdown, which doesn't matter. His legs do a lot of work for him. He's running all over the field. Can't stop him. He's got rushing touchdowns. And those are obviously more valuable rushing than passing in most of your fantasy leagues. So I think Jalen Hurts is like QB 3-4 right now. It's pretty. He's up there on the chart. So he's doing pretty well.
I'm gonna say this week he's QB 2.
I think this week he's QB 2 or 3 for sure.
Washington just came off a game. They've come off 2 weeks. They've made Trevor Lawrence look pretty good, and they made Jared Goff look like Joe Montana. And I just think this Washington defense is bad. I'm going to be honest with you. Every piece of that Eagles offense, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, just start them all. Start them all. I just see this game getting out of hand early. I think Philly's going to shut Washington down on defense. Washington can't run the ball well. Robinson's coming back in a few weeks. He looks really good on his agility drills. He's just not going to be able to come back till week 5. So I like this game to be the Eagles dominate early, kind of like they did against the Lions, and the Commanders to kind of make a run later and get it within like a 9-10 point frame. But I think that's as close as they get moving forward.
Yeah, I think Wentz is in their bench this week. I think I'm looking at like a 210-yard line, maybe one touchdown, 2 or 3 interceptions. I don't think he has a very good game. I think the Eagles win this one fairly easy. 6.5. It's a tough spread on the road.
It's a divisional game. I mean, it's I don't think if you're looking at the two defenses side by side, when you're in a close game, like a 7-point game, and you put your defense on the field and you need to stop, do I want the Eagles defense or do I want the Commanders defense? I want the Eagles defense. And I'm going to tell you right now, my play of the week on the defensive side is the Philadelphia Eagles. They are going to score 23 points, I think. they're going to have at least 5 sacks, probably 2 interceptions, and after that, it doesn't even matter. Like we said, all Eagles players I'm starting, whereas the only Commanders players on offense that I feel comfortable rolling out this week is going to be Curtis Samuel. Jahan Dotson is rookie 1 for me, but I'm biased. I think Jahan Dotson is going to be spectacular. I just don't know how this game progresses. Jahan Dotson for me is a better option than, say, a Terry McLaurin, though. I do not like Terry McLaurin. He is a must-sit for me this week. McLaurin has struggled this year for him. I don't think this is the game he breaks out.
All right, sounds good. So you like the Eagles?
No.
I don't like the Eagles, but
Eagles,
he likes the Eagles in this game.
I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I'm going to go with 31-20 is my final score.
31-20.
31-20.
I like it. I like it. I'm not going to put a prediction on this game because I don't really feel too comfortable doing it. But I don't. Like I said, 6.5 is a lot on the road. It's a lot for a road team to cover.
Washington's so bad.
They are bad, but it's still a tough spread. They can be up by 14 or 13.
Week 3
with
is
30
tough.
seconds left, and Washington scores, and bam, they cover the spread. You know what I mean?
Well, week
like
3
that.
is hard because, you just don't know what teams are yet. I have been saying it, though. I think the Eagles could be really good this year, if not the Super Bowl team. I've already kind of said I like them in the Super Bowl. I'm already calling it right now. I like the Eagles to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's just what I'm saying. That's whatever. If it happens, it happens. If not, it's the Eagles. Who cares? I hope they lose anyways.
They are looking good. All right, next game we get the Saints and the Panthers. We're not going to spend too much time on this game. There's a couple players in this game that we kind of need to go over. Kamara is still limited. He's not practicing fully yet, so we got to keep an eye on that and see how that goes. Hopefully, you got a backup option for him, but I know I kind of don't. I have Kamara in one of my leagues, and he kind of hurt me last week. But obviously, Michael Thomas, Olave, pass catchers are great, and CMC. I think he tripped over a potato chip last week and sprained his ankle, but
He's a must start.
he's good to go. Everything's removed from him on the injury report, so he's good to go. And that's really about it for that game. I don't think there's too much to go over. The Panthers are 2.5-point favorites at home. The over-under is 41. What do you like?
Well, I don't know what I like in that game. I mean, 41 is such a low total. I do think this will be a defensive battle. This is why I'm not big on the pass catchers in this game. So Michael Thomas for me is only start him if you have to. I don't like Michael Thomas in this game. I just don't know. I think both defenses are going to assert themselves early. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Chris Olave is a guy that you will be starting in the future, just not today. And Jarvis Landry. There's a lot of targets going around in New Orleans. Taysom Hill. I don't like any of them this week. I don't like any of the Panthers either. The only guy that I could consider is DJ Moore, and he's got to start finding the end zone. So he did get one last week, but we're going to see how he's moving forward. Pass catchers, I'm probably starting DJ Moore, and I'm probably maybe starting Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I like Michael Thomas. I think he's been out of football for quite a while. So I think he's kind of just getting back in the groove of things, and I think he's doing a lot better than expected for everybody that drafted him. I know he came out of the gate, he had 8 targets, 5 receptions, 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then last week, the target stayed there. He's got 9 targets. He has 6 catches, 65 yards, and another touchdown. So he's got 3 touchdowns on the year. And his targets are there, and I think he gets stronger as the year goes on, as he gets back into football shape, because he has missed quite a lot of time. And Olave had 13 targets last week.
He did.
So
I'm not ready to rely on the rookie yet. They haven't shown me he's going to be an integral part of that offense week in and week out, kind of like a Jahan Dotson or a Garrett Wilson right now. I will say, though, I kind of like the Saints to win this game. I know Baker Mayfield coming to Carolina makes them a little better, but you're talking about making them better from Sam Darnold. So we're kind of talking about you're taking a turd and making it a better looking turd. So I'm just not a big fan of that team. I don't think Carolina's offense is that good. They have, but outside of McCaffrey and DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson's he's missing for 75% of the season. I don't like their pass catcher, so I like the Saints in this game, and I'm gonna say I like the under, so more of like a 21-16 kind of game.
I agree. I like the Saints also. I think the Saints win outright. You saw the Saints and the Buccaneers were 3-3 all the way almost to the fourth quarter in that game. So the Saints got a stingy defense. I think they're good on defense. Baker Mayfield's not that good. So they got to start learning. They got to start learning how to use McCaffrey with a new quarterback in the system, and I don't think they've found it yet. So I like the Saints, and I like the under also again. So I don't think the Panthers scored very many points in this game. So I think it's like a 21-17 type of game, somewhere in there. I don't think it's going to be that high, honestly. I think it's going to be low scoring. So
NFL games are so hard when the under is so low. Like so with the Browns game on Thursday night, we both said it was going to go over, and it was only because 38 for two NFL teams is low. They were more predicting the weather. We looked more at the players. So moving forward, we're trying to, they said, kind of let you guys know you can trust us to a point.
I did pick the score in that game, pretty much dead on.
He said 27-17.
I said 27-17,
29, right at it.
or 17. So yeah, that was pretty close.
So yeah, we're gonna get back into the fantasy part of things. So let's talk about the
Sunday night game.
Sunday. We haven't done the 4 o'clocks.
That was a 4 o'clocks.
That was a 4 o'clock.
That was a 4 o'clocks.
Boy. All right, then we're gonna talk about the Sunday night game. Man. All right.
I'm wrong. That was not the 4 o'clocks. All right.
Talk about the 4 o'clocks.
Had to skip a few out.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. So all right. So yeah, 4 o'clock games. That was the last 1 o'clock game. All right. So Jaguars and Chargers.
Let's talk quarterbacks.
This is a scary game because I personally don't think Herbert's going to play. I don't think they want to rush him back. To get that one more big hit on that rib cage, and he might miss multiple weeks. So I don't think he plays in this game. So then we're looking at Chase Daniel, which it's a pretty bad option. So I don't think Herbert plays. I think that messes up a lot of fantasy value in this game. I was expecting Eckler to have a big game this week, and they might rely on him more, which he's a great out of the backfield receiving. So I think Eckler still does all right. And I think Everett does good, and I think Allen's still banged up, and I think the receivers kind of scare me. So more like a Duncan Dink kind of game for Chase Daniel. So scared about Herbert, and I think that changes a lot of stuff in this game.
I think it really just depends on who goes at quarterback. I don't know if Herbert's out yet. The rib injuries are pretty serious, so if he doesn't go, we can fully understand that. He took a vicious hit in that Chiefs game. So Chase Daniel would be the guy. Now, if Justin Herbert is the guy, then I'm going to say you're going to want to start Keenan Allen if he plays. You're probably going to start Mike Williams. I think both those guys are going to have decent games. You can even get into the Josh Palmer conversation. I wouldn't start him, but if one of those two is out, if Keenan Allen is out, then Josh Palmer becomes a good option. Now, if Herbert plays, I'm still a little leery of getting him in my lineup. I think you drafted him so high, you got to play him. So if he's a go, I'm going to trust them and believe that the team knows best. He's going to be 100%. I think if he's a go, you start him, and you start all of their pass catchers, including Gerald Everett. I'm good with him too. If Chase Daniels is a go, I think that Eckler becomes a much better play.
So if you're picking one of these receivers between Allen and Mike Williams, I think Allen goes in your lineup if Herbert's in the game. If Herbert starts, I think Allen's a kind of a must start. He eats the targets up. I think it flips if you go to Chase Daniel. I think Williams goes in your lineup. So I think Allen's obviously a more possession receiver. Those balls got to be right on the money. They got to hit him in stride. Williams is kind of a big play type of guy, and Daniel can just throw the ball to him, and hopefully he makes something happen. So I think that flips for me, depending on what quarterback starts. Like I said, if Herbert's starting, I like Allen. If Daniel's starting, I might like Williams. But other than that, let's go to the Jaguars and see what's going on over there.
With the Jaguars, it's pretty simple. Trevor Lawrence, for me, like I said, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is startable right now. He's probably on your bench if it's dynasty, and if he's not, he's probably not in his roster. Now, it's pass catchers, though. And I'm going to put Travis Etienne in the pass catcher, but we'll talk him and James Robinson first. I think Etienne gets his traction in this game. I like Etienne as a flex play this week. I think he is a start. James Robinson, I also think could be a start. Robinson's going to be a little more touchdown reliant. I know he looks explosive, but I think Etienne's eventually going to work his way into that lineup. This could be the week. They're going to be behind. They're probably not going to be running as much, a little more in the air. We all know Etienne is going to be the air back. That's who I like. Now, in terms of receivers, Christian Kirk is becoming a borderline wide receiver 2A-ish, almost fringe wide receiver 1 with how he's playing. I like how they use him, and I like the amount of targets he's getting in that offense. For me, Christian Kirk is an absolute start. Outside of Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, not going to say start him. Probably going to keep him benched. And then Marvin Jones as well. They're just too much boom bust. Christian Kirk gives you that balance. Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne, James Robinson, I'm going to say they're all goes this week.
Yeah, I'm not big on Jacksonville. I'm not big on the Jacksonville players. So Kirk can possibly be the one guy to start in that lineup, but I think that's about all I go for. That's all I go for Jacksonville. So line this game, it opened up double digits, and this is another reason why I think Herbert is not expecting to play. It went from a double digit to now it's the Chargers -3. Mm-hmm. So obviously that's changing for a big reason. The under average 42.5. I like the under. I'm not picking a lot of unders this week, but I like the under. And I'm going to stay away from that spread too, because I just don't, I'm not comfortable. I think if Chase Daniel plays, I think Jaguars do cover that spread. So
the spread for me says that they don't think that Philip Rivers. They don't think that Justin Herbert is going to play this week. So what that tells me is that Vegas is predicting that Justin Herbert's not going to play, but they also started the Chargers at double-digit favorites. So they must really know something about Chase Daniel that we don't. I'm actually going to rely that it was double digits at first. I don't care who's the quarterback. Give me the Chargers. I'll lay the 3. I'll take the Chargers at home. I think the Jaguars, they beat a Colts team that was really depleted on offense. They lost to a Commanders team that really isn't that good. I just think the Chargers still move the ball. I don't care who the quarterback is. I like the Chargers. I don't want to touch the over-under. Just give me the Chargers by 5.
All right, sounds good. Sounds fair. So next game, we got the Falcons and we got the Seahawks. This game here, they got it even, under average 42. So, again, they don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. They don't think it's going to be a really low-scoring game, somewhere right in the middle there. As far as on the fantasy side of it, I don't really like too many players in this game. I think he was on my sleeper pick this week. I think Metcalf kind of does break out. If history repeats itself, it was Lockett last week, it's Metcalf this week. So I think Metcalf finally has a good game. And other than that, I don't like too many players in this game. I know Patterson, people still got him in the lineup, but that backfield, for some reason, changed last week. I know Patterson had a great first week. He was the workhorse, but last week he split carries. So I don't know what the deal was with that, and I don't know what to expect this week with that. So I'm going to stay away from the backfield in Atlanta. And then you got a pass catcher for the Falcons.
So we're going to talk the pass catchers on the Falcons side, and that's going to be Drake London and my favorite, Kyle Pitts. So I like Drake London in this game. I think that Atlanta's going to look to move the ball through the air. It's very possible against the Seahawks defense. So give me Drake London, who's starting to see more and more targets each week. Also, I'm not big on Kyle Pitts. I think he's a bust this year. Kyle Pitts is startable this week. I know a lot of people are looking to do trade them, get rid of them, whatever you want to do with them, release them. Start them this week, I think. I think this is the game that you look at that Seattle gives up a lot of points to tight ends, and you can say, I'm going to sell Kyle Pitts after week 3. Whatever your roster needs are, look to flip Kyle Pitts into that. I'm going to say he's going to have a decent game this week. I'm going to say 5 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. And I'm not big on Kyle Pitts, so that's a lot, but I think that he's going to break out a little bit. Outside of those two guys, Olamide Zaccheaus, I think I said his name right, and I'm a Virginia fan, so I don't even know if I pronounced it right. But he's not an option to start. But with the Seahawks, like he said with Metcalf, I do like Metcalf. I know that's a very up and down offense between Lockett and Metcalf.
I think they both have good games this week. I just think Atlanta's going to give up a.
I actually like the over in this game. I like the over 42. I think they're banking on really bad offenses going against each other, but there's also 2 really bad defenses. So for me, I actually do like a little bit more of a high-scoring game. So I'm going to say the over on this one.
I agree. I'm going to say the over, and I'm going to say the Seahawks at home win this game. So, with that being said, I think we're done with that one.
Well, we got to talk about a couple more games. We missed 2 here, unfortunately, but we're going to get to them. I like this one. This is a fun one.
Yeah, this is like I said earlier, this is the game that people thought was going to be a great game looking at the schedule preseason in the week 3, and that's the Packers and the Buccaneers. It should have been a pretty exciting game to watch, but both teams are just so banged up. There's nothing left for either one of them. So
I like this. I like no pass throwers in this game. I don't like Tom Brady. I talked about him in my Shiver section that I think he's going to go cold this week. I don't like Aaron Rodgers either. Just not a guy I'm confident in right now with the amount of injuries on both sides. I'm going to actually say I don't start either of those quarterbacks. I don't care what you have to do to get another one, but I'm sitting them for one of the guys we talked about, maybe a Jared Goff, a Joe Flacco, Carson Wentz.
I have Kirk Cousins and Tom Brady in one league, and I'm definitely 100% starting Cousins. So, I think both those quarterbacks, they stay on the bench this week, and next week we'll talk something different, but this week they're both on the bench. I mean, really, the pass catchers, there's nothing there either. So, I mean, the whole Buccaneers receiving corps it's gone.
It's a corpse.
So, exactly. So, I mean, obviously you got the Evans suspension, you got the Godwin injury, you got the Julio Jones injury. I don't think he's playing again this week again. So, yeah, that's their top 3 receivers that are out. So we're looking at like Scotty Miller, maybe Gage, like stuff.
Even Rashad Perriman's on the questionable list. So,
right, so
there's just too many people beat up. Even Leonard Fournette, with him being beat up too. Honestly, I am looking to stay away from this Tampa Bay offense. I will tell you a guy that I am big on going down the road who actually may break through with his first NFL touchdown this week. That's Rachaad White. I think Rachaad White's a guy that if you got him stashed on your bench, you're in a good shape for the future. He may take that backfield over by the end of the year if Lenny starts stumbling. This week with Lenny banged up, I'm going to look for Rachaad White to get more of a split. And Rachaad White, although he's not a start, will be in the future. Not a bad pickup.
Right. So the Packers side is actually the exact same way with their receivers. So they're also banged up. I know Lazard is back in the lineup this week, but how healthy is he? They're banged up also. I don't like A.J. Dillon this week.
He's one of my shivers.
So I think it's going to be the Aaron Jones show again, and I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. We got Buccaneers -1, under was 42. I'm going to say...
I kind of like Tampa Bay because they stop the run, and that's what the Packers do.
Yeah, I'm going to say their defense wins this game for them. I'm going to say Tampa Bay, they're like 13-10 win.
Really low scoring.
I think it's a low-scoring game, and I don't think there's much ball movement in this game. So,
like
fantasy-wise, that's not a good score to look at. So, 13-10. If you're looking at fantasy football, I don't think I want players playing in this game. So,
no. So the last of the 4 o'clock games we're going to touch on is the Cardinals and the Rams. When we're talking passers here, I mean, obviously with Matt Stafford, he's a guy that we're not 100% sure yet, but I don't think week 1 was a good indication of what he can do. I think that we panicked a little early on him. I like Matt Stafford this week against this Cardinals defense. Start Matt Stafford. I also say the same about Kyler Murray. Kyler hasn't been spectacular, but this Rams defense is very vulnerable to the pass. I like Kyler Murray this week as a dual threat. I think he's going to kind of push through a little bit.
I know Kyler Murray's been awfully scary, so I know week 1 and 2 he didn't really put those fancy numbers up until the fourth quarter. And I have him in a league, and you're wondering what's going on with him, but he's making them fourth quarter comebacks, and he is kind of scaring me, but I'm trying to hold on until Hopkins comes back and see what happens with that offense when Hopkins comes back, because they got a good offense. They got a lot of good receivers. So, yeah, even Greg Dortch, he's coming on pretty strong. So,
Do you think Dortch is a start this week?
I don't know if I'm starting them unless I'm desperate, but
one of my sleepers of the week was Hollywood Brown. Especially if you have Kyler Murray as your quarterback, I like that stack. Hollywood's just getting company with his new team. I'm going to say Hollywood is a start this week. How do you feel about him?
I feel great about Hollywood. I like Hollywood. He's a little quick guy, and he gets a lot of targets, and he makes things happen. He's an explosive player. I think he's also kind of touchdown dependent too, and needing that big play to put you over that 15-point mark. You know, he needs that big touchdown. So, but I think he's always consistent for 12 to 15 points a week, and that's not too much to ask for. It's not too bad. So.
On the Rams side, when we're talking strictly with the wide receiver situation, we know Cooper Kupp's 100% starting in every game you have. We get into Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's kind of one of those guys that terrible week 1. Everybody freaked out. Oh man, he's done. He's broke. Let's trade him. Let's release him. And then week 2 he came out and he looked competent. So how do you see Allen Robinson as your starter set this week?
I don't think I'm starting him yet, but I do think he's getting more comfortable in the offense. I think he's getting more comfortable with Matt Stafford. He should have had 2 touchdowns last week. So the one that got called back, you know, he was wide open. Shouldn't have been called. Shouldn't have had that happen to him. But those are the penalties in the game. So yeah, they got called back, and that could have been 2 touchdowns for him. He was getting more looks last week, and yeah, I also like Tyler Higbee also, but.
Now,
I think that's the only 2 receiving people I'm starting is maybe Higbee and Cooper Kupp. But
I'm okay starting Allen Robinson this week. I think he showed last week he's going to be a part of that offense. I just hope he's not a Mike Williams type where he's really a boom or a bust. He's no in between. Higbee for me is a start. If you have the room, you're not starting him over Kelsey or Mark Andrews, but he's a guy for streaming tight ends, and you have him. He's a good option. I also like Zach Ertz in this game. I think Ertz is going to have a decent game with Kyler Murray stepping up. So Ertz and Hollywood Brown are definitely those guys in that offense. Now, when we're talking on the backfield, James Conner for me, he's a little banged up. He's probably going to be a game time decision. Just take him out. I don't think he's a start this week, even if he's healthy. I don't want any of the backfields at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, nobody knows what to do with the Rams. If you got Akers or Henderson on your team, you're kind of like lost right now. So I think we all are. I think ESPN, I think everybody's lost on this Akers and Henderson ideal. So I don't know really if you need one of them players, you can plug them in your flex if you're desperate. Like I said, you know, if you've got a lot of injuries on your team, you need to plug one of them in. I don't think either one is going to produce better than the other one. I think they're both going to end up being like a 50-50 split there also. So I'm trying to stay away from them, but like I said, if you need to put them in, you got to put them in. But try your best to stay away from them.
Now, when we're talking just the spread alone, the Rams coming in, they're a 3.5-point favorite on the road against a divisional team. The over-under at 48.5. Vegas thinks this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. How do you feel with the way this game might go?
I mean, I see some points going up. We just need the Cardinals to come out of the gate a little bit faster than they have been the past couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, 48.5, it's kind of high. I think
I'm leaning Arizona here, and I say that because divisional games at home against teams that aren't too far apart. I don't think they're too far apart. I think Arizona finds a way to stay in this game. I don't know if they win outright, but that 3.5 is big. If it was a 3-point, I would probably actually lean the Rams because I do see it being a 3-point game. But I'm going to say the Cardinals. I'm going to jump on their line. I'm also going to jump on the over here and think that this could get into a pretty decent shootout.
Yeah, I'm going to go the over also, and I'm going to disagree on the spread. I'm going to go with the Rams.
Fair assessment.
So I think Yeah, I think the Rams just have too many weapons right now. I think nobody knows how to stop Cooper Kupp, and he's going to keep doing what he's doing.
So I think Sunday night game.
Sunday night game.
It's going to be our primetime game this Sunday. We are going to do the Monday game in a separate video. So I believe the Monday game this week is going to be Denver and San Francisco. So we'll get into that in a separate video because I do like a couple of guys really. We'll get it in a separate video. We're going to talk Sunday night. We're getting ahead of ourselves. The two in the division of my favorite team that we don't speak of, the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants, who come in as a 1-point favorite at home. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, the Giants are favored over the Cowboys. Probably has a lot to do with that Dak injury, but Cup's not playing too horrible. But the under-over is only 39, so we're not looking at a lot of points in this game. As far as the running backs go, obviously I'm sold on not starting Zeke in any of my lineups. I think he's finished. But I don't want to say finished, but I don't say drop him or anything.
The utilization is just weird. He actually isn't averaging bad this year. He's right around 4.7 a carry, if I'm not mistaken. He's in that range, and that's great numbers for a running back. But when you're only getting like 10 or 11 attempts a game,
yeah, I don't see Zeke doing anything. And honestly, I think Barkley kind of has a bad game this week also. I mean,
a bad game for Barkley. I'm not gonna say he's like 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he puts up the first, second round type of running back numbers that you're looking for in this game. I think
he's a shiver this week. I really think that we panicked week one. We panicked in the wrong way. I think Barkley went nuts week one, and we said, "Oh man, this is the second coming of Saquon Barkley." Came down to earth a little bit last week against Carolina, so I think Dallas shuts him down.
I do think I think it gets shut down also. I think we're looking at something like 17 carries for 40 some yards. Hopefully, gets a couple receptions.
So I only think there's one startable player in this game on offense that you can be somewhat confident in.
I mean, I guess it's got to be CeeDee Lamb.
It's got to be CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I know we're not super confident on CD right now, but it's still CeeDee Lamb. He's still getting looks. Michael Gallup should be back this week. It's going to add a little more dynamic pass catching to the offense. Then you can put Noah Brown in the slot possibly. So you're going to have more weapons coming back, more attention being drawn from CeeDee Lamb. If you panicked and sold him already, I don't know if that was the right move unless you got a super good haul. I think CeeDee Lamb's a guy that we're going to see eventually come into the wide receiver one.
I think CeeDee Lamb is absolutely fine. I don't think we have to worry about him yet. I mean, this could be the tail of the tape right here. If he has a horribly bad game here, then maybe start getting a little nervous about him. But I think he's fine. I think he has another good game. He's still getting the targets. He's still getting, the target share. He's still getting, basically, he's the number one guy in that Cowboys offense. So
let's
I
get
like CeeDee Lamb.
Let's get into so we know pass catcher wise, we're probably staying away from everybody but CeeDee Lamb at this point. With Michael Gallup, I want to see more when he comes back from that injury. He's coming back from a pretty good serious injury, so we'll see what Gallup does. Let's talk the game flow. So for me, I like the 39-point spread. I think that's kind of indicative of what's going to happen. This could be one of those like 2019 grinded out kind of games. This is what Vegas is actually saying it's going to be as 2019. I think they got the teams wrong. I think Dallas covers. I think they win this game. I'm going to take Dallas, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to take the over. I think the Cowboys can score 24. I hate saying this. You know what? I'm not picking this game. I'm not picking this game. Nope.
I would love to pick this game. So I think the Giants go 3-0.
Whew.
The Giants go 3-0 after week 3. I know.
This has been a weird year.
Who would have thought that? But the Giants start out 3-0. This game does stay under. So it's a low under over 39 points. I don't think we see much offense in this game. So it's another game where like the fantasy players, you got one or two, and you gotta hope they do good. But other than that, I think it stays low, and the Giants win.
I hope they both lose. I don't care. As long as we beat Philly, which I don't think we will. So whatever.
21-13.
21-13 Giants. I'm actually going to go, I don't want to do it. I'm going to say the team from the state down south is going to score 24, and the team from the east up north is going to score 20. So we're going to go over. We're going to go to the Cowboys. Ooh, we're going to go to team down south to cover. That is going to be it for your Sunday lineup. That is a lot of games, a lot of football. So what we are going to do is in our bio, we want you to like and subscribe to this content. We're going to be doing this 4 or 5 times a week. We also want you to go to our Facebook page, which is linked in our bio, and go ahead and follow that. We're going to be doing some live Q&As. We're going to be doing a lot of start-sit threads. So we're touching on the tip of the iceberg. If you come to our page and you ask us a question, we will 100% respond. We'll get your lineup questions answered as much as we can. So for now, we're going to go ahead and jump out of the deep end here. We are done for today. Enjoy your Sunday slate. We'll be back with the Monday night game. We're going to talk a little more in depth on that. Until then, we are the Shiver. I'm Brian.
I'm Brad.
We are out.
See you guys on Monday night.
Go Commanders.